So strap yourself in, as today I'm finally able to get my Rat Convoke combo deck to work and explode into instant wins with some crazy plays and some crazy damage. Hey everyone, Hex here, and today I'm playing a very cool and very janky Tangled Colony combo deck, looking to blow our opponents away out of nowhere in several different methods. Firstly, quick shout out to Saffron Olive's recent video, as he gave me the inspiration needed with how I can finally fuel this mega jank that I've had tabled for a while. He used it in a cool barbed servitor deck, links in the description, but today I'm using his combo on Tangled Colony and creating some crazy board states. So here's our plan. Firstly, get Tangled Colony on the battlefield. A creature that when it dies creates X 1/1 rats, where X is the amount of damage done to the colony this turn. We are going to do some mega damage to it and make an enormous rat army while clearing all the blockers from our opponent. As for the mega damage combo, I'm going to be using Corpse Explosion. When you cast your explosion, you exile a creature from your graveyard and do X damage to each creature and planeswalker, where X is that creature's power. What better creature to have in our graveyard than Yargle? Just a casual 18 power frog sitting there ready to hop into action. They'll do 18 damage to every creature, 18 damage to your rat, and then 18 rats created on your side of the board. That's the setup, but how do we win, as these summoning sick rats will surely never actually make it to attack? Well, plan A, the non-attacking option, is with our new friend, Warleader's Call. This enchantment will ping our opponents for 18 damage when they ETB. That's a lot of damage, and hopefully you can win there and then. Plan B though involves haste, specifically Bitter Reunion. Early on, this card is perfect for discarding your Yargle, but late game you get to give your rats haste. Pair this with Warleader's Call and your rats are now 2/2s, smashing their way through after pinging your opponent for 18 damage. If all goes to plan, you've already won, but this is Magic the Gathering and we all know that doesn't happen. Fear not though, I do have a plan C, the Convoke option. Let me introduce you to Hoarding Broodlord. This is an 8 mana dragon with Convoke that says when it ETBs you get to search your library for any card, then exile it face down. Until the end of the game, you can cast that card from exile. Oh, and it'll have Convoke if the dragon is still alive. So our secret source to search up? Well, today I'm using a Twisted Sewer Witch. When this 5-drop ETBs, you create a rat and you put a Wicked Roll token on each rat you control. You now have the opponent basically locked out the game unless they can kill you your next turn, because your rats have pseudo protection. No Sunfalls will work, as although they clear your creatures, your rolls will still enter the grave, and Wicked Rolls that do this ping your opponent for 1 damage. The rest of the deck fuels our strategy. We've got some removal in Bitter Triumph, cut downs and the Convocable Pylon, with extra creatures in Scoundrel and Vein Ripper. Today I have 24 lands with a load of Surveil lands, and that is the deck. So this deck is very cool, it's very janky, and it's a fun way to bag a win out of nowhere. Don't expect to win every game at all, but I just love these kind of decks that push the limits of cards that are pretty bad on their own, but work great when they're all clumped together. I definitely want to hear your thoughts on this brew. Don't forget to drop a like, consider subscribing if you haven't, and I'll catch you again in the next video. Alright, on the draw, and this hand looks pretty nice as we have our Tangled Colony in it, plus a Warleader's Call, which is one way we can win the game. We also have our Yargle, which we are going to want in our graveyard. Opponent with a Darklick Shores. And there is a cut down on top. Well, I'm going to keep that so we can play that next turn with our Elegant Parlor here. Okay, opponent has a Deep Cavern Bat. They get to look in our hand and wonder what the hell is going on. They see a Yargle in there, but they go for the Warleader's Call, probably the correct choice at the moment. So this is my first game with this deck. Had a few practice games in the play queue yesterday. Went pretty well, but lining up on the ladder in Mythic today is going to be a different challenge. I'm not expecting to win every game, I just want to win a couple. And we'll see how we get on here. I'm not going to just use the cut down on this bat, I'm not really that bothered about it. Although the life gain is going to cause me a slight problem. There is a Corpse Explosion on the top of our deck. Okay, as they are playing black and blue, we kind of want them to tap out and drop the Colony and Corpse Explosion in the same turn, but we're still looking away for a way to get rid of Yargle here. Opponent with a Preacher of the Schism, which is fine by me. I'm just going to cut down the bat. We need our Warleader's Call. We also need the opponent to drop some life, so we're going to need to find a way to do that as well. But we'll play our call here. The Colony, when that enters the battlefield, is going to do 1 damage itself. Preacher triggers, they lose a life through that. So maybe they could start knocking their own life total down. We'll play Scoundrel here. Surely they've got a removal spell. They've got all that mana open. We haven't given them any targets so far. They are definitely doing something, and it is a go for the throat, sure. So I saw this deck, or this combo with Yargle and Corpse Explosion on most recent MTG Goldfish video. And it reminded me of a deck that I wanted to play, which was this deck a while ago, but couldn't find a way to do a lot of damage to the rat. And it was a perfect video to watch because they showed me how to get 18 damage done to our rat, which is excellent for this deck. You could throw Servitor in this deck if you want to, but we're going all in on the rats here. Going to absolutely kill their 2/4 here. They follow up with another Preacher, and you know something? We have lethal. We just got to make sure that we do this correctly. So we'll play Tangled Colony, make sure we've got a red mana open. That pings the opponent to 18, and Corpse Explosion here, 18 damage to every creature, even knocks out their blocker. That doesn't matter. We get to do 18 pings of our Warleader's call, and that is going to take the opponent down to 0 life, and that's what I've been trying to do. Wow, the deck worked pretty well first time. I'm not expecting that to happen every game. Alright then, on the play here, and yeah, we've got our Tangled Colony. I mean, you can't really complain too much. Vein Ripper and Broodlord don't need Vein Ripper. In fact, I'm a little bit medium on Vein Ripper, whether that should be in the deck. There's potential for a one large creature or spell using black mana for the Broodlord to find. I didn't know whether to find maybe Push-Pull or Breach, but I went with Vein Ripper for the minute. I was thinking about playing Imodane's Recruiter to get that into the graveyard early and then playing like a push-pull to bring that out to give everything haste, but it was getting very janky at that point, so I just went with Vein Ripper instead. Opponent, it looks like they're on Boros, but no creatures on the battlefield yet. Good thing about our board wipe is that we can just use it as a defensive tactic instead of having to combo off. We just want to take out all of our opponent's creatures. Corpse Explosion is a pretty nice card. I have used it before in other decks, but not to necessarily combo. Invasion of Theros. Alright, so they're a off-meta Boros Brew here, looking for ossification. Okay, well that just says to me that we need to Colony and Explosion on the same turn. So we find our Black Cleaves Cliff. Sure. Bitter Reunion can give haste as well, so that's going to be nice. They play Monastery Mentor, holding open mana, so they could well have a Lauren's Escape here. But I am going to attempt to kill it because this is a way to get our Yargle into the graveyard, even if they protect their Mentor here. Okay, well they don't. So we just need a Corpse Explosion. We find Cliffs, tap land. I don't want to take this game too far. So how about we play Cliffs here, and then we channel our Sokenzan, hopefully knock the opponent down to 18, 18 being the magical number in our deck. And this means that next turn a land will allow us to Hoarding Broodlord to look for our Corpse Explosion. Okay, well there's our mountain, excellent. They did play a Regal Bunnycorn, so pretty glad if we can get this done as quick as possible. We'll drop this Hoarding Broodlord with Convoke to find any card. You get to exile that card, and you can play at any point in the game for Convoke if you wish to. We're just going to find our Corpse Explosion here. Don't care if they deal with my board. They're on 18 life. As long as they don't gain any life, I'm pretty sure we're going to have a very good turn next one. They play the Touch the Spirit Realm. They can't quite take out their Invasion of Theros. They do have a mana open, but I'm just going to go for this. Tangled Colony here. Corpse Explosion, 18 damage to every creature. Create 18 1/1 rats. Give them all haste with our reunion. Take the opponent from 18 life down to 0. Excellent win there. Alright, on the play here with our janky Convoke style rat combo deck. And this hand is not bad actually. We have the Scoundrel to discard Yargle or even Bitter Triumph. We have a Broodlord. We need our Tangled Colony. Bitter Reunion is fine. opponent with a Shivan Reef. Okay, so they've definitely got something, I would presume, in their hand. They might not, but I would worry about like bounce spells, instant speed bounce spells if we do get our colony down with a corpse explosion. But if they play a board wipe like ill-timed explosion, then maybe they could do some damage for us instead. They are holding open a lot of mana, but we're under no real rush ourselves. We'll play the Scoundrel. If this gets countered or dies, so be it. Who cares? Going to rummage away the Sulphurous Springs here. And we find another Broodlord. Okay. Alright, trust me, this Broodlord card is vital in this deck. It's not in there for no reason. There's a Yargle. Okay, well, we just need a target for our Bitter Triumph to get that into the graveyard. But gonna just create some 1/1s here. Attack the opponent. If we draw a land next turn, we can convoke our Broodlord. Opponent with a big score. Okay. Alright, take the opponent down to 17, below the 18 life that we need them at. So this deck's been doing okay. There are clearly a lot of decks it's not going to work against. This is a janky brew. If you want to win loads of games on the ladder, I wouldn't advise this deck. But if you just want to have a load of fun, play some cards you haven't really played with before and combo off. This deck could be for you. I am loving it today. Been playing a lot of aggro and meta-style decks recently. It is nice to get some janky combo out into the open here as we find our Tangled Colony. Alright, I think what we do is we just hit the opponent. We've got Bitter Triumph to deal with Chandra. Then the question is, do we play Tangled Colony? The next turn Explosion. It's very risky if they have a removal spell. They are playing white in their deck. But I think in this kind of situation we have to go for it. I think this is the only way we're going to win the game. They could well have a land into Sunfalls, something like that. They don't. They play Memory Deluge. Fair enough. But if we don't draw a land next turn, we would have just wasted that turn. Okay, they find a land, presumably with their Deluge. We find Rorquos Theatre, and with the mana they've got, I think we're going to have to go for this now. So we'll drop Corpse Explosion. Done this before. 18 damage to every creature. Create 18 1/1s. Gonna give them all haste with the Reunion. Or are we? Opponent has a spell here. What are they gonna do? If they've got removal, they should have done it to my Tangled Colony. It's March on my Bitter Reunion. If I activate this, does this still trigger my rats? I don't know. It doesn't matter anyway. I'm going to do it anyway. Okay, it doesn't. Yeah, I was overthinking that. This is why I'm going to show you now why the Broodlord is vital for this deck. We're going to play the Broodlord here for basically free. Convoking our creatures. Find any card in our deck. There is one card I absolutely want. It's Twisted Sewer Witch. We get to play this card as well. And this is going to it's going to create a 1/1 rat. It's also going to put a Wicked Roll token to every rat. Alright, opponent. We might as well just play this Broodlord as well. They're going to have to deal with the board, but we've got them in a lock here because there is nothing they can do apart from kill us to get out of this. They've gone for Sunfall, but they don't realise that although that kills the creatures, all the Wicked Rolls still enter the graveyard. So the opponent is still going to lose all that life, and that is the reason that Broodlord is in this deck. Alright then, on the play here, and sorry, on the draw even. Hand is okay. Kind of with a Mountain and Phoenix Chick. Okay, I think we're up against a mono red deck, more specifically an aggro deck. Presuming that this is going to be the nemesis of our deck, surely we can't keep up with the constant threats from our opponent, already down to 16 here. So this is going to be a good indication of how this deck can perform against aggro. We certainly thrive against mid-range decks and to a lesser extent control. But we do need to drop the opponent's life total down a little bit, but I really can't attack, I don't think. I think we just need to sit and block. So opponent does play their Monstrous Rage onto their Phoenix Chick. Okay, well, we have Bitter Triumph. but we don't really want to take any damage from that. Corpse Explosion as well can do 18 damage to everything, giving the opponent 18 cards to look at with Feldon here. So Feldon is causing me a little bit of a headache. Not only do we need to find a way to survive here, we are going to need to find a way to try and win. Let's drop Warleader's Call. Fingers crossed that they don't have much going on. They certainly doesn't look like they've got their third land drop. Please attack with everything, or at least the Swift Spear. They do not. Okay, well, I'm going to have to block. I can't go down to 6 life against this deck. They find 2 lands, which is probably what they wanted to find. Yeah, not our best matchup here, but this game is going to show us how we can perform against this kind of deck. Our off-meta janky brew here up against a well-versed red aggro deck. Bit of Reunion here to discard and draw. Discard a Corpse Explosion. Okay, well, there's Tangled Colony. You know, I don't know if we're going to win. I don't know if we can win. We certainly can't play Tangled Colony here. It doesn't block and they can just attack us with their land. But we're not a million miles away from this game. With the colony on the battlefield, Corpse Explosion and Warleader's Call, we can do 19 damage to our opponent with an untapped land. I don't know how we can win, but yeah, we can certainly be close to winning. We'll take care of Feldon here. Gonna have to discard our Bitter Triumph, unfortunately. Guess we could have discarded the Black Cleave Cliffs, but I don't think we're going to survive this turn anyway. They've definitely got something in their deck. Okay, they let that go. We're going to go down to 4 with their creatures, but they didn't attack with their land, so surely they've got like a Monstrous Rage or something. Okay, Play with Fire. It's going to take us down to 1. They bottom their card, and they follow up with a Lightning Strike. Yep, no surprises here. Mono Red takes us down. Alright then, on the play here, and yeah, I mean, a lot of discard effects. Got our Pylon in the deck. Nice Convoke card, it's pretty much free when we have the rats down. Vein Ripper, okay. Vein Ripper into the graveyard, so that is a 6-power creature that we can always use to, with our explosions, do 6 damage if we have to in a pinch. Opponent with an island. In fact, opponent with a sack land, so probably up against one of the strongest decks in Standard at the minute. Yeah, looks like they're up against the Temur World Souls Rage deck. Okay, we're going to want to try and find a way to combo quickly. They're going to gain a lot of life. They might not want to destroy our colony, though, as we find one on top. Do we need 2 of these? Probably not. We're looking for our explosion here. Yeah, so they do damage-based removal with the ill-timed explosion, so they might be able to do a lot of work for us. Let's keep digging, see what we can find. Put it with a Shigeki on the battlefield. Playing a few of these Shigekis in this deck I think is a really good idea, as you get to constantly keep pulling back your life gain lands, your sack lands. And I think the biggest downside of this deck that our opponent's playing is just it just takes a while to go through all these land triggers. But it's pretty powerful when it starts going off, really. We'll play Swamp. And so we can either go Scoundrel into Warleader's Call. I don't really think that's necessary. Let's go for our Tangled Colony. Let's go for Scoundrel. Now, if they go for a ill-timed explosion, at least we're going to get some creatures out there. And we can Warleader's Call and start attacking the opponent that way. Maybe I should have kept that Tangled Colony early on, the second copy. Or maybe they just play the Virtue of Strength and they don't clear our board. Okay, so untapped land next turn means we can do 18 damage straight to our opponent. Okay, Bitter Triumph instead. Sure. Okay, we're going to have to do this in 2 phases, aren't we? We actually only have 1 red mana with a treasure, so we've got to be a bit careful here. We'll drop the Warleader's Call, we'll get in there for, what, 6? Drop the opponent below that magic 18 life total. Yeah, this is a good indication of how this deck can perform against a pretty decent deck, but these slower decks, unlike the aggro style decks, are probably where we favour. They surely have no idea what we're up to. They're just going along with their game plan, gaining life, using the life gain as their way to stay in the game, which is how this deck works, before they blow you out with a massive, massive World Souls Rage, or a massive Doppelgang if you want to go that way. But we look like we're in a good place here. Just using the Virtue of Strength here. I'm not sure what 2 mana spell they've got. I'm just going to go for it next turn. We have Bitter Reunion to give haste. Opponent is on 17 life. We're going to make 18 1/1s, so Warleader's Call should trigger. Yeah, hopefully they don't have a way to deal with our creature. Instant speed, doesn't look like they do. That's 18 pings to the opponent. If they gain any life, we'll just give them haste with a Bitter Reunion here with our treasure. And opponent, yes, we have taken down one of the best decks in Standard at the moment.